Greetings, humans. You have entered the Command Zone, your destination for all aspects of Elder Dragon Highlander. Enjoy your stay.
What's up, everybody? You are watching/listening to the Command Zone podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy Wong.
How's it? It's Josh Lee Kwai. Well, we're having a lot of these special videos lately. There was another big announcement from the Commander Rules Committee. So we just felt we have to make a video about it because every time something gets banned, and yes, spoiler alert, a new card was banned, we want to make sure. I think one of our jobs in the community is to get the information out there to everybody.
Yeah, and to make sure that everyone understands the information on the same level. Oftentimes with announcements like this, especially because they're hosted on a different website than the official one, there can be a lot of murkiness, muddy waters. So we're here to clear the waters and make sure you understand what's going on.
Okay, so there were three main things in the announcement, and first I'll just say that the official announcement article will be linked in the show notes, so if you want to read it in its entirety, please do so. The first 2 points are pretty simple. So the first point was a simple wording change to the rules that just helped to accommodate the companion mechanic.
Yep, and they break that down a lot more in the article, but basically they changed one word in the rules to make sure that companions like mechanics like companion work in Commander. It's really simple. It makes sense given what they're trying to do here. Nothing huge.
It didn't change anything about wish cards or sideboards or anything like that. Those still don't work. Again, we're going to do a video about the mechanics of the set. We'll talk about it then. That's not a big announcement. That was expected. The second part of the article was that Lutri is officially banned. We knew it was coming, but now it has officially happened.
Yep.
And the third one's the major one, and this is the announcement that the card Flash, not the mechanic, the card called Flash, has been banned in Commander.
Yep, so let's read the card really quickly so you know what it does. And yes, Josh, thank goodness it wasn't the mechanic, right?
Yeah, we might have just shut down. That might have been it for the Command Zone of the show.
The Twilight episode. All right, Flash is 1 in the blue for an instant, and it reads, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you do, sacrifice it unless you pay its mana cost reduced by up to 2 mana. So this is a card that says, give a creature Flash, and you reduce the mana a little bit because you paid 1 in the blue for the instant. But the more important part is that a creature is coming into the battlefield and immediately being sacrificed if you don't pay that cost.
So the card that this combos with is Protean Hulk, which when it dies, you can search your library for creature cards with converted mana costs up to 6 combined, and then just put those onto the battlefield. There's a million combos. We've talked about it a lot on the show, so I'm sure even if you're not familiar with the specifics, you're familiar with the idea that you play Flash, you put Protean Hulk out, it dies because you don't pay the mana cost, and then you win. You go get some combination of cards, usually that include Thassa's Oracle. Thassa's Oracle really exacerbated this combo because it made it even better. It was still good with Labman and some other things before this, but now it's just really good.
Yep, and you could do this as early as turn 1 because you could play one of the boxes that exiles a land card, and it was highly uninteractable. There was a lot of reasons that specifically cEDH players did not like this card.
Yeah, this is a card that competitive EDH players have been begging to be banned for probably about a year or more now.
Yep.
Basically since Protean Hulk became unbanned.
Yeah, that became unbanned, and then a card like Thassa's Oracle entered again, and it exacerbated the pre-existing argument, and so here we are. Flash is banned.
So really quickly, I wanted to read the direct quote from the article just in regards to Flash, because what Sheldon and the Rules Committee typed here I thought was relevant to the discussion. So they say, enough cEDH players who we trust have convinced us that this is the only change they need for the environment they seek to cultivate. Though they represent a small fraction of Commander player base, we are willing to make this effort for them. It should not be taken as a signal that we are considering any kind of change in how we intend to manage the format. This is an extraordinary step and one we are unlikely to repeat. We use the ban list to guide players in how to approach the format and hope Flash's role on the list will be to signal, quote, cheating things into play quickly in non-interactive ways isn't interesting. Don't do that, end quote. We believe Commander is still best as a socially focused format and will not be making any changes to accommodate tournament play. Taking responsibility for your and your opponent's fun, including setting expectations with your group, is a fundamental part of the Commander philosophy. Organizers who want to move towards more untrusted games should consider adding additional rules or guidance to create the Commander experience they want to offer.
Wow, so a lot to digest there. The big thing is in that first paragraph, enough cEDH players who we trust They want this change because they need it for the environment they seek to cultivate. So at the end of this sort of comes back to it. Organizers who want to move towards more untrusted games should consider adding additional rules or guidance, for instance, banning something like Flash, to create the Commander experience they want to offer. So it's all about the experience here. It's not about them policing the format more. And like they said, this is an extraordinary step. Now, Josh, you are a part of the Commander Advisory Group.
Correct.
And you were actually involved in some part of this decision, although not the actual final hammer on the nail, right? Can you give us an insight into what exactly went behind the scenes on for those discussions?
So the way these work is the Rules Committee calls a meeting, has the Commander Advisory Group and us there. We do it over Discord, and they take our temperature on things. They ask for our advice. But we don't make any rulings, right? They just say, what do y'all think about this? We say what we think, and they go, okay, thank you. And they go away. And then they weigh what we've said with what they think and whatever factors they feel like, right? And then they come back and they say, we're going to do this. Usually they give us the courtesy of saying, hey, we deliberated maybe a day or two later, and here's what we've decided to do. Right. But they don't have to do that. We're just an advisory group. They ask for my opinion among the other group, and we give it to them. And the CAG, the Commander Advisory Group, is not in lockstep. I consider it my role to give them my opinion. It's not to be on a consensus level with the rest of the Commander Advisory Group. There are people on the group that I disagree with all the time.
Yeah.
And they give their opinions, and hey, Sheldon and everybody else gets to weigh everybody's opinion how they feel like it.
It's kind of like the small council in Game of Thrones.
Sure, but the king ultimately says this is how it is, and he can either listen or not listen to the council.
But the king is more than one person in this case, and there's a lot of discussion going on. And like you said, not every single person is going to be necessarily, like, your opinion isn't going to change it necessarily, but it's a combination of your opinion, other things that happen.
As we know, right, because Paradox Engine, I did not want it to be banned. Iona, I did not want it to be banned. So I was about to say, so they don't always listen to me. That means they don't always agree with me. They listen, they ask me what I think, and I tell them, and they're hearing what I'm saying, but they sometimes disregard it and decide to do something else, which is fine. That's their prerogative. I serve at the pleasure of the Rules Committee. It's totally fine.
It's like consulting in real life.
Yeah.
You are hired to, or not hired, you are given the task of giving this advice, and whether or not they take it, they're still listening to it. It's not like they're just going like, well, we're just going to ignore what you said and moving on.
Yeah. So I know everybody out there is asking, and I'll go ahead and just be transparent. Josh, what was your advice regarding Flash? And I actually came around to the point that I said, yeah, I think we should ban it. You know, early on, I was against it. I've been against it for a while because I don't like bannings. In fact, we have now had 4 bannings under my Commander Advisory Group, like while I've been on the Commander, which I consider to be a huge failure. I'm not very happy about that. We have 1 unbanning, right? Painter's Servant. I've made this point to the Commander Advisory or to the Rules Committee that like we got to start unbanning some stuff to even this out because I feel really bad. But Flash is a special case. You know, it's not like the competitive people came to us yesterday or last week. They've been saying for a long time this is a problem, and it just got worse with Thassa's Oracle. They've been very steadfast. I believe that the competitive EDH community is a significant part of the Commander community. It's not 20%, right? But even if it's 5%, 3%, that's a lot of players now. I believe there are multiple millions of people that play Commander. So that's, quite a high number.
Tens, hundreds of thousands even, maybe.
Yeah, so that's just a lot of people that this card is affecting negatively. Probably more games of Commander in the last 3 years, or sorry, since the Iona ban, let's say.
Yeah.
Since before that, probably more games of Commander were negatively affected in the recent future than Iona negatively affected, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at it too, right? Let's say in 90% of cEDH games, Flash is abused in a way that ends the game in a way that players aren't happy with.
Right.
And although that is a small percentage of the game's total played in Commander history, that is still a massive percentage for those types of players.
Is that 1% of all Commander games then, right? Whereas Iona no way showed up in 1% of all Commander games. It was probably in like 0.001% of all Commander, right? Like I'm just making up numbers. But anyway, so I was in favor of the Flash banning. It took me a while to get there. I want to go to something in the article really quick before we move on, Jimmy, because I want to know what you think. You're outside of that process. And
yes.
And I actually didn't tell you about this ban, so you just found out about it with everybody else, which...
Yeah, I texted you. It was like, hey, we need to make another video.
Yeah. I was like, oh, they announced that? I sort of forgot it was coming that day. One more point I want to make was in regards to the article excerpt we read.
Yes.
Sheldon wrote this, but it's got all the rules committees, I think, names on it. But they definitely went out of their way to say, listen, we're doing this one time.
An extraordinary event, right? Yeah.
There is no plans to make decisions for the format based on cEDH. In fact, they were very against making this decision at all because they don't want cEDH to be governing the decisions they make. And there was many of us on the Commander Advisory Group that said, listen, it's a significant portion of the player base. And this is a thing that this is like a special thing.
Yeah.
They've been talking about it for a long time, not just 5 minutes here.
They've been formulating this argument for a while.
And if we say ban that, and then in a month or two, they come back and go, you know what? Our format's broken because of this card now. All right, that just proves we can't fix your format.
Right.
And so we're not going to try and play whack-a-mole with the cEDH stuff. Like that's, I don't, again, I say we, I'm not speaking for the rules committee, but that's the feeling I get from inside when I talk to them. That nobody's said that exactly, but you can read in between the lines here. They're basically saying, listen, our neighbor's house was on fire.
It's been burning for a while.
Yeah, like
started off in the kitchen. Now the entire thing apparently is up in flames.
Yeah, of course we want to help them put some water on it and stuff. But if their house is catching on fire all the time, we're going to move to a different neighborhood or something, right?
Yeah, there's something wrong.
Maybe that analogy fell apart.
There's something wrong with the plumbing, or there's something wrong with the heating system,
or they're doing something wrong in there.
Yeah, they're building something crazy.
If it keeps catching on fire, but yeah, if their house is on fire right now for the first time ever, yeah, let's help them.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jimmy, let's step outside of my inside involvement.
Yes.
And let's ask you, what do you think about the decision to ban Flash?
I think it's fine because for me personally and from my experience, I never see this card get played.
Right.
And it's because it's just not that great, right? Like, we love Vidal Ori. If you want to give cards Flash, just go that route. But I mean, aside from that point, I think the main thing here is they said they want to have this on the ban list to say cheating things into play quickly in non-interactive ways isn't interesting. And interaction is one of the key things that we always talk about being the most fun part about Commander. And I'm assuming that's also why Iona is on the ban list, because that card screams non-interaction, right? But specifically to one color. So in this case, I know for a fact, because I do browse the cEDH boards every time the new cards come out to see what their take is on it. And when Thassa's Oracle came out, there was a different tinge of flavor in terms of the, oh gosh, really? That came over that entire, it was like a wave of Oracleness that washed over the entire subreddit. And you could see everyone almost with this internal dread as to what was about to happen to their format. And if it's just one card like Flash, the effect is replaceable and extremely replaceable. It's not a format staple in any way. I'm totally on board with this.
You mean for the casual crowd?
Yeah, like you don't need Flash and you don't.
You already weren't running it.
Yeah, and when we talk about auto includes, we've never mentioned Flash once in 5 years of this show. So
let me ask you: are you worried about the other aspect, the slippery slope argument of like, hey, now the rules committee is going to pay too much attention to cEDH?
Well, a slippery slope is a logical fallacy, so make sure you know that. But no, I'm not. I mean, and again, it's one of those things where like time will tell what will happen. And like you said, it's a great point to think about it. If cEDH comes back next month and all of a sudden there are rah pitchforks about something else, then there's something deeper going on that needs to get investigated. But this is something, again, like you said, consistently over the past year and a half since Protean Hulk's been unbanned, has been a serious issue in that whole group and community. And also, like, to be honest, I want to build decks if I ever want to build a cEDH one that doesn't revolve around Flash Hulk.
Right, exactly. Actually, they made the format less appealing to me because I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Build the one deck?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very interesting. One exchange I wanted to highlight, because something you said reminded me of it, when we were doing the meeting, I know one of the rules committee, I forget which one, was like, should we really make a decision that's catering only to cEDH? He didn't think we should be doing that. And I said, listen, the format's been around for 10 years. You've made how many decisions in that time period? If one of them out of 100 decisions is made with cEDH in mind, are you catering to them?
Right.
Yeah, you're giving them one decision out of 100, which feels like the right balance based on their population,
base,
right?
Yeah, it's good to have perspective here, that's for sure. And it's definitely, like, for instance, if, it's true. Just look at all the decisions they've made. Oftentimes, they're just catering for the more casual crowd, like
almost
they said.
Every time.
Yeah, cheating plays, things in the play quickly in non-interactive ways isn't interesting. Don't do that. That is 100% how they want to frame this message for the casual crowd, so...
One question I know a lot of people are asking or have been asking out there is, well, why of the two things, Flash and Protean Hulk, why ban Flash and not Protean Hulk? A lot of people are like, well, Protean Hulk's clearly the problem. Why not ban that? The reasoning is that there are sort of fun, fair ways to play Protean Hulk. I mean, in our group, we've seen Protean Hulks resolve, or I guess, what's it
Die.
called?
Get off the battlefield.
Where it didn't immediately win the game. Because on our group, we generally frown upon that kind of comboing out. And so people just be like, hey, I get a lot of value out of it. Got some good cards, but it's not like insta-win. there's really no usage of Flash that you ever see. Technically, you can come up with scenarios where people would do that, but that never actually occurs.
Yeah, it's almost like Flash. If you had to, like, a mechanic went to work on both of them, Flash was built to abuse a Protean Hulk. Protean Hulk was not built to abuse Flash.
Right. That's a good way to put it. So Protean Hulk, you can still play it. You can still play it in fun ways. Don't take away the fun card. Take away the quote-unquote broken card.
Yeah, it's like the keys to the ignition. Take away the keys, the car still can run. I don't know. That's an awful... The car can't run, actually, without the keys.
Oh, yeah, that metaphor fell apart.
All right, it fell apart, just like the combo. Okay.
All right, so we wanted to get the information out there. Flash, the card, not the mechanic, is banned.
Bye-bye.
Yep, that will wrap up this video. Make sure, though, that you do hit that subscribe button because we still have the C20 set review
Legendaries and non-legendaries.
Yep, we've got the Ikoria, the main set. We've got a set review. We've got 2 set reviews, one for the legendaries, one for the non-legendaries.
That's what I meant earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, C20, we're doing that too.
Oh, right. Well, there's so many set reviews coming out. You don't want to miss any of them.
We're also doing an entire video about the new mechanics in Ikoria because they're so complicated, mutate, companion, all of that. So we're going to talk about that. So a lot coming down the line still. I know we've had videos coming out like crazy. It's not going to stop for the near future, so make sure you subscribe.
And game nights as well. Hit that notification bell to be the person that comments first.
Because that is a very...
Could be you.
Yes, it's very prestigious.
Speed, yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Thank you for your attention. For further inquiries, send an email to commandcast@rocketjump.com or ask us on Twitter @JFWong and @JoshLeeQuai. See you later, alligator.
Greetings, humans.